The year was 1919. World War I had ended, and thousands of black soldiers returned home, proud and hopeful, ready to live the democracy they had fought for overseas. But that summer, the promise of freedom met the hard edge of hate. From Washington, D.C. to Chicago, from Arkansas to Nebraska, America's cities burned red with violence and fear. Historians call it the Red Summer. And for over a century, much of what people think they know about it has been wrong. The old headlines told a one-sided story, that black mobs had started riots, that white citizens were simply defending themselves. But the truth is far more revealing. Nearly every outbreak began with white mobs storming black neighborhoods, often sparked by a rumor, a glance, or a lie. In Chicago, a 17-year-old boy named Eugene Williams was killed after drifting into a whites-only beach. When black residents demanded justice, they were met not with law, but with fire. And across the nation, black Americans did something the country wasn't used to seeing. They fought back. Not as aggressors, but as defenders. They stood their ground against mobs, sometimes even against police and soldiers sworn to protect them. What happened that summer wasn't a few isolated riots. It was a national reckoning. Many cities like Chicago and Washington became battlegrounds. The violence didn't belong to one region. It was woven into the entire country's fabric. And when the mobs came, black communities couldn't count on the law. Police often stood by, or joined in. In Elaine, Arkansas, hundreds of black sharecroppers were slaughtered simply for organizing a union to demand fair pay. The official report called it an uprising. History now calls it what it was, a massacre. When the gunfire stopped, the country tried to move on, but the survivors didn't forget. The Red Summer became a turning point. The NAACP grew stronger, pushing for anti-lynching laws. Writers and artists of the Harlem Renaissance transformed pain into power. Poetry, protest, and pride. Black Americans began shaping a new narrative, one that refused to be silenced. And here's another myth worth clearing up. The red in Red Summer had nothing to do with communism or radical politics. It wasn't about ideology. It was about blood. The name came from James Weldon Johnson, a writer and civil rights leader who wanted America to face the truth, that the soil of freedom had been stained that summer. The Red Summer of 1919 was a story of horror, but also of resistance. It revealed the cracks in America's promise and the courage of those who refused to bow to terror. And that's why remembering it isn't just about history, it's about truth. Because when we challenge the myths, we see not just what happened, but what still needs to change. If you believe truth deserves a louder voice, subscribe and join me next time as we uncover the stories history tried to rewrite.